sometimes it is not even concealed and revealed very openly to our utter astonishment. And Ukraine is a core lever to do that. The coup that happened in 2014, it was a very obvious coup, no matter what others say. There was a legitimate president in place. It was thrown overnight, despite the guarantees given by Germany, by France. And then there was, there have been years of assaults by the new illegitimate government in Kiev against the eastern parts. They still, I mean, the people in power in Kiev, they still keep saying that that the land is ours, but the people inhabiting those areas, not only the Russian-speaking, the Russian origin-speaking, they may, leave for Russia, but we will keep the land. It doesn't work like that. This land is where these people live. It's their land. You can't just remove the people from their land. Those species, Zelensky used to say, may go, but we will retain the land. It doesn't work like that. And we came in support of those people since 2014. All along, continuing to impress upon the Europeans, the US, the new authorities in Kiev, to impress that, look, we should sit and talk and have a peaceful solution to the contradictions and the problems and various conflicting situations in the eastern part of Ukraine peacefully at the table. All the time, all those attempts have been rejected. I will remind you that in 2007, the Munich conference, Putin spoke about the threats to our national security. Nobody listened then. It was, his speech was met with, I don't know, some suspicion, with some laughter, and dismissed, basically. And since then, there have been many attempts by us and approaches to the Westerners about, on issues of NATO expansion, our threats that we feel in Russia, the threats from that expansion, the threats of their actions in Ukraine that we feel. Nobody listened. And when we started to act, suddenly there was great attention. Well, currently, the Europeans, not so much the US. I think Trump understands that this war is lost by Ukraine and the West. But the Europeans continue with their belligerency belligerence and with this, belief of theirs that there is a chance to have an upper hand in this conflict. There is no chance. You can't, take over us in this conflict simply because of nuclear weapons.
Simply because of your nuclear weapons.
Simply because of our nuclear weapons. We have in our doctrine that if there is existential threat to us, there is a possibility of this use. And knowing that, Europeans still insist that there should be military actions. The war should go until Russia is defeated. This is not only the revelation of their craziness, but also an indication of how unprofessional, how childish they behave. So this is the major stumbling block, the major problem now we have on the way to a peaceful solution, the European position.
So, Ambassador, when you started this, we call it the war, the Russians call it the special operation. So what is it for you now, in the sense that what is at stake? What would satisfy you now to end this war? When can this war end, and what is your objective now? What's the goal there?
It has never been about land, by the way. It has always been about the protection of the people who live in the eastern parts of Ukraine. I repeat, those
Russian-speaking people.
But not only Russian-speaking, Russian origin people, Ukrainian citizens of Russian origin. They were Ukrainian citizens, now they're Russian citizens. But we never put the land issue forward in this whole context. We have always spoken about the protection of the legitimate human rights of those people, which were abused by Ukraine, by people's own government in Kyiv. This is one thing. NATO is another. Now comes, in the current circumstances, comes the land issue also. So those parts have been incorporated into the Russian Federation. We have a law. It's a constitutional law. We will not give it away. But had we had a peaceful process started way back in 2022, there were those territories would have been still with Ukraine, not any longer, and Ukraine will lose more and more land if it continues with the conflict, and it seems they are determined to do that at the behest of the Europeans. Those people, are astonishing. I don't know how to put it. They simply disoriented, lacks the strategic vision, and don't understand a very simple thing. Europe will never be secure, which they want, with unsecure Russia as a neighbor, and vice versa. We will never feel secure if Europe feels unsecure. So there is only one way to sit and agree on a mutual security architecture and solutions, something the Organization on Security and Cooperation in Europe tried to promote, and we have always stressed the necessity of that. You may remember our proposals about common security from Lisbon to Vladivostok. Everything was rejected.
Ma'am, yes.
Thank you. Bex Buckingham, British High Commission. Ambassador, I would just like to sort of firstly point out that when Prime Minister Modi visited Moscow last year, one of the things that he said to President Putin was that war cannot solve problems and that seeing innocent children murdered is pain that is unbearable. I think many people have seen only a few days ago that yet another drone hit a kindergarten in Ukraine, injuring and killing innocent children. How is it justified that a sovereign nation such as Ukraine, who has the existential threat of losing their own homeland, who has continued to fight, how is it that Russia justifies bombing children during this war?
Here comes a British with the children question. A very good question, which I would love to answer. Have any of you heard about the area of angels in Donbass? I believe very few, if at all.
No.
This is a mass grave of children, alley of angels in Donbass, a mass grave of children killed by Ukraine, by Kyiv, who attacked with missiles and aircraft and heavy bombardments prior to 2022. Over the years, they have killed hundreds of children in the eastern parts of Ukraine. Why don't you start with that? Again, over the last week, there have been, I think, 120 or 119 casualties in Russia, including children. One child was killed only during the last week in Russia by the Ukrainians. Why don't you, be objective in all these things? The war is going on. We always maintained, and I specifically stress that, we have never targeted civilian buildings, civilian infrastructure. Have never done that. There are casualties on both sides, unfortunately, children included. But the Ukrainian side has deliberately targeted civilian infrastructure in the border Russian regions bordering Ukraine, in Belgorod, in Rostov region, even deeper in our territory, they do that. They also target military installations. They also target energy infrastructure, but they also, target civilian infrastructure in our territory. We never do that. The result, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
There is a lot of reports have been and still about thousands of Ukrainian children abducted by Russia, taken Ukrainian children taken by Russia
to be the stories are that
kidnapped or
they
whatever.
are going to be indoctrinated. That's the story that's coming out. Adoption or indoctrination. No, but after indoctrination. Yes.
This is again completely wrong. This is not the case.
I'm telling you the story, so you have
Ukrainians are speaking about tens of thousands of such children. We have requested them. Give us the list. Give us at least something, the names and the details about these children. These children. They gave us about how many? You must know better. 119 or something. And we have taken all those cases. And those children were actually saved from, what is it, the boarding houses, orphanages, taken temporarily so that they do not perish in the fighting. And now they are returning.
Please introduce yourself.
The disinformation, the propaganda is outrageous against us.